Hello everyone, this is Dr.R.Thulasiram, Associate Professor, Department of Social Sciences, Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research, Chennai. Today the topic for discussion is forest resources. This is one of the important basic lectures that is being covered under the course Environmental Studies and Disaster Management. It is a 2+1 course for the students of agriculture. And this particular course consists of two parts. The first part is environmental studies and the second part is disaster management. Under the first part, environmental studies, we talk about environment and natural resources. And forest resources are one of the important resources that is naturally available for the human beings and also for other living organisms. So as human beings and other living organisms utilize these forest resources for their survival. There are many resources available in forest that possess some value, that is economically very useful for the life of both human beings and other living organisms. We take them, we utilize them, we sometimes take it directly for consumption, we sometimes use those resources and we convert those inputs into valuable outputs. So in this lecture, we'll be dealing with forest resources and its uses. To start with, let us see the contents that has been covered in this particular lecture. So we'll be dealing with what is forest resources, their uses and overexploitation, the concept of deforestation, some of the case studies available, what is timber extraction, mining process, dams, their construction and their impact on natural resource and forest, the effect of forest and tribal people because of the construction of dam, building, etc. in those areas. Let us move on to the topic. Before going deep into the topic, before we start seeing what is forest resources, we will see about the land use classification. So by the year 2018-19, as per the data of 2018 and 19, you can clearly see the net sown area is 51.85% out of the total geographical area of our country. And 8.05% of the area is being covered by forest and resources, and 5.81% area is under non-agricultural uses. 6.795, that is 7% approximately, it is barren and unculturable land. 4.8% is permanent pasture and other grazing lands. Pasture grazing means the land which are meant only for grazing. And land under miscellaneous tree crops and groves, it is 4.86, and you can see the current fallow land is 5.22 in India. So this explains the utilization of land, that is land use pattern in India as far as the year 2018 and 19 is concerned. There may be any decline in this data with the year progress. There may be an increase in the area and there may be a decrease in these areas. Right. So now we will see what is forest resources. So those are one of the important natural renewable resources on this earth. So it covers the earth like a green blanket. These forests not only produce innumerable material goods that we use for day-to-day purpose, but also provide several environmental services which are essential for life. That is, the benefits that we get from forest resources, sometimes it is tangible. That is, you can see it, you can feel it, you can measure it. And sometimes the benefit that you get from forest resources are intangible, that you cannot see or touch. You can enjoy that. It is indirect benefits. What are they? Well, it moderates the climate. It improves the air quality which is available in the atmosphere. It regulates water flow. It protects aquatic ecosystem. It also promotes the overall biodiversity. So likewise, it gives lots of direct benefits and also indirect benefits to our environment. So what it does in particular, it protects the soil, it protects the purity of water and air. It has some aesthetic sense. It can be used for recreational activities. Many people, they go for trekking. Very importantly, youngsters, army people and other people, sometimes they pull the colleagues together, their office colleagues, and they go for trekking. There's persons who involved in national social service, NSS activities, they also go for this trekking recreation activities. Some of the jobs are related to forest area. and you can extract timber from the forest resources. And as I told you in the previous slide, it conserves biodiversity, and it is conducive for lots of wildlife creatures to have a good habitat to live on. So these are some of the importance of forest resources. Right. So it has several functions, the forest resources. The first function is productive function. Second one is protective functions. The third one is regulative functions. So productive functions, it consists of, you get wood, fruits, resins, some alkaloids also you can derive, essential oils, latex, pharmaceuticals, fodder for animals, firewood, timber, honey, wax, gum, lac, resins, and food. So all this variety of things you can produce from the forest area. And some of the protective functions, as I told you in one of the slides, it conserves both soil and water, and it checks the purity, it checks the flow of water, it checks the flow and purity of air. It prevents us from drought. It acts as a shelter against wind, cold, radiations that has been passed on. It prevents us from noise. It creates good sight and smells, etc. And some of the regulative functions, it includes absorption, storage and release of gases like carbon dioxide, oxygen, water, mineral elements, and radiant energies. It effectively regulates floods and drought and the global geochemical cycles, particularly of carbon. So these are some of the important functions of forest and forest resources. So some of the productive resources I have included here, starting from resins, right? This has been used as an additive for paint making, varnishing, right? So all these materials, you use this resin. It is taken from the barks of trees. Latex, that is the latex, the thing that you take from rubber tree. You can see in Tamil Nadu also. In India, you can see it from Kerala. You can take latex. The person is taking latex from the tree. And timber purpose, you can extract timber, and you can also take lac. You can also take lac. So lac is also, it is one of the things which is used for many commercial purpose, varnishing, all these purpose you can use it. And you can also extract essential oils from some of the important trees that you can see in forest area. And you can also get honey from the forest trees, which is having both medicinal properties, and also it is, of course, it is eatable. Many people who follows diet also, they are in need of honey, natural honey. And you can take the firewoods from the forest resources, and you can get lots of fruits, naturally available fruits from the forest areas. So these are some of the productive resources which can be consumed by the human beings, and many of the productive resources are having medicinal properties, and it has got more value in terms of money. Right. So another important function, another important uses of these forest resources and trees available there inside the forest is windbreak. So it is a process where it is a planting usually made up of one or more rows of trees or shrubs planted in such a manner as to provide shelter from the wind. So the shrubs which are highly densed, okay, it blocks the air, and this wind that which is found to be a dominant wind, which may not be good for the available crops, the cultivated crops, that can be blocked, that the density or the velocity of the wind can be blocked by the density of these planted materials like shrubs, etc. So this here acts as a windbreak that helps the crop from being taken off from the surface. So this is one process, that is windbreak. And another one is, of course, shelter belt. It is more of the same. So there are shelter beds or rows of trees or shrubs planted on protection of crop against wind. They provide protective shelter against wind and suitable habitat for birds and honeybees, as well as produce cattle feed and fuel goods. There are lots of importance here. You can see it blocks the wind, it helps the cultivation of crops, and also it serves as a habitat, conducive habitat for birds and the honeybees, which takes that as a shelter. And it is capable of producing cattle feed, and it can also give you fuel wood for consumption. So this is called as shelter belt. Next, we'll see about the global forest area. So when you compare the world countries, world regions, you can see the South America, where you can see the value is more and more previously, and now it has started to decline. The forest cover, the area under forest started to decline. In Europe, you can see slowly there is a progression in the forest area. And in most of the countries, you can see there are some decline. In North America, you can see it is found to be stable. And you can see in some of the countries, some of the regions like East Asia, it is found to be in an increasing trend. So this is the data that shows the global forest cover region wise. As far as our country, India, is concerned, so I have listed down the India's greenest states that has more number of forest areas. So Mizoram tops the list, followed by Andhra Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Meghalaya, Manipur, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana, and Punjab. So this tells the percentage of total geographic area under forest cover. Out of the total geographic area in that particular region, 90% is covered by forest area in Mizoram, and it is followed by Andhra Pradesh, Meghalaya, Nagaland, and Manipur. All the other states that has forest cover, which is in meager numbers. So this is as far as India is concerned. So the forest area in India at the beginning of 20th century, about 30% of land in our country was covered with forest. But by the end of 20th century, the forest cover was reduced to 19.4%. This is considerably less than the optimum 33% forest area recommended by National Forest Policy 1988. So as far as this National Forest Policy, NFP, they have declared that minimum any country should have a 33% of forest area out of the total geographic area. And when you compare that number with India, in India it is only 19.4. And now very recently you can see the forest cover is 7.1 lakh square kilometers. That is 21% out of the total geographic area. It is, of course, it is far lesser than 33%, which is a recommended one. The forest has been classified into dense forest, open forest, mangroves, and scrubs or shrubs. So dense forest, that is the canopy cover, it is over 40% of land. And the canopy cover of open forest is 10 to 40%, and mangrove forest is less than 10%. So you can see the canopy cover is the, if you see those forest area from the top, you cannot see the land. So the more and more you cannot see the land, the more and more the canopy cover is. So in dense forest, you can hardly see the land. It is very tough to see the land because the canopy will be so dense that covers the most of the land area. And mangrove, it is very, very less. Now mangroves, it is not so dense. So now we will see one by one. The shrub. The shrubland, it is always called as scrubland, scrub, brush, or bush. It is a plant community characterized by vegetation, which is dominated mostly by shrubs. And often it also includes grasses, herbs, geophytes, and shrubland may be unsuitable for human habitation because of danger of fire. No, in these shrubland, there will be some chances of fire. So it is not a conducive habitat for the human beings to live on, right? So this is all about shrub. And next one is the mangroves. They are a group of trees and shrubs that lives in the coastal intertidal zones. And there are about 80 different species of mangrove trees you can see. In India, these are found on the east and west coast of mainland and on the islands of Andaman and Nicobar and Lakshadweep. All of these trees grows in areas with low oxygen soil, where slow-moving waters allow fine sediments to get accumulated. Right here you can see this. Most of the pictures also you would have seen this region. So this is one of the places in Tamil Nadu in Kadalur district, very exactly near Chidambaram. There is a region called Pichavaram. It is one of the major tourist spot where you can travel and you can enjoy this mangrove forest. The place is called as Pichavaram. And this place also in some of the Tamil movies, you could have seen this in Tuparivalan movie also. You would have seen these places where the fight sequence takes place. Right. So next we'll see about the different types of forests that our country has and also by universe. So India has a diverse range of forests from the rainforest, which is located at Kerala in the south, to the alpine pastures of Ladakh in the north, and from the deserts of Rajasthan in the west to the evergreen forest in the northeast. So normally climate, soil type, topography, and elevation are the main factors that determines the type or the name of the forest. The name will be given based on these characteristic features. Forests are classified according to the nature and composition, the type of climate in which they thrive, and its relationship with the surrounding environment that also influences the type of a forest. The forests are divided into 6 broad types with a number of subtypes also. The types are moist tropical, montane subtropical, dry tropical, montane temperate forest, subalpine forest, and alpine forest, inside which you have lots of subdivisions: wet evergreen, semi-evergreen, moist deciduous, littoral swamp, sadupunilam in Tamil, they call it as sadupunilam, broad-leaved pine forest, dry evergreen, wet forest, moist, dry deciduous, thorn forest, dry evergreen forest, etc. The first type of forest is alpine. The alpine forest, otherwise called as montane forest, occurs all along the Himalayas at altitudes ranging between 2,900 to 3,500 meters, or even up to 3,800 meters above the mean sea level. Above the sea level, depending on the location and variety of species. And normally in the hill region, the mountains, you can see these forests, and the forest which is located in hill region, that can be called as montane or alpine forest. The forest has been divided into 2 categories. One is, 2 types. One is subalpine, 3 categories: subalpine, moist alpine scrub, and dry alpine scrub. And the trees that you see in these regions are called as coniferous and mostly deciduous trees. The second one is rainforest, which receives high amount of rainfall annually. This forest is simply an area of tall, mostly evergreen trees and a high amount of rainfall, as I said. And rainforest covers less than 3% of the total area on the planet. And the world's largest rainforest which is available is the Amazon rainforest. The climate in these rainforests are normally hot and humid. And of course, it is conducive for the animals and plants, but they need to get adopted with this situation. Once it is getting adopted, it is conducive for their living. Rainforest, it helps us to stabilize the world climate. It provides a home to many plants and animals. It maintains the water cycle. It protects against flood, drought, and erosion. And it is a rich source of medicines and foods. And very importantly, it is a forest where we can go for rubber tapping, right? We can get rubber out of lots of trees. Right, now we'll see some of the uses, other uses of forest, general uses. There are some direct benefits from forest that you can take directly from forest: fuel wood, which is a rich source of energy for cooking purpose and for keeping warm in most of the cool areas. They use this. Timber, it is a wood used for making furniture, tool handles, railway sleepers, matches, plows, bridges, boats, etc. Bamboos also, you can make use of that for matting, flooring, baskets, ropes, rafts, pots, etc. Food you can get in the form of leaves, fruits, roots and tubers of plants, and meat of forest animals, and the food of forest tribe also. They can use this as foods. Shelter in the form of mosses, ferns, insects, birds. Reptiles, mammals can also make use of these regions as shelter for them. There are also microorganisms are provided shelter by forest area. And you can get paper from it, whereas the newsprint, stationery, packing paper, sanitary paper depends on. And rayon also you can get from forest. Bamboo and wood are used in the manufacture of rayons, yarns, artificial silk fibers, or some of the other products. Forest products include tannins, gums, drugs, spices, insecticides, waxes, honey, horn, musk, ivory in the sense, that you get from the elephants, hides, etc. are all provided by the flora and fauna of forest. So you get lots of things from forest. That is one main thing is rayon, that is silk fiber that you get from forest resources. Mosses is also one of the naturally available thing you can see here in the picture. It breaks down exposed substrata, releasing nutrients for the use of more complex plants that succeed them. No, they can make use of these nutrients which have been stored by this mosses. They also aid in soil erosion control by providing surface cover and absorbing water. It absorbs all the water and it helps the soil from being eroded. And they are important in nutrient and water economy of some vegetation types. And another use is you can get ivory out of it, and by using ivory you can make some economical it has some economical uses. You can produce some products which has high value in terms of money. And of course, this many people are familiar with. Musk perfumes, right? So I don't know whether how many people knows about the origin of these perfumes and what is the raw material of these perfumes. It is from musk. Okay, it will be taken from the male musk deer. Okay, so these male musk deer are available in parts of Russia, Mongolia, etc. Right? It is a substance with a penetrating, persistent odor obtained from the sac beneath the abdominal skin of the society male musk deer, and it can be used as a perfume fixative. So it is so smell. It has a good pleasant smell also. It has a good value in the market. So Siberia, it is a region. This is the musk deer that can be seen in Siberia. You can see. So the abdominal skin, from that the musk will be taken and it will be in the shape of a round shape. So from where you can produce lots of substances, okay, which can be used for perfume making. And there are some of the indirect benefits that you can get from forest. The first one is conservation of soil. Forest prevents soil erosion by binding the soil with a network of roots of different plants. And it also reduces the velocity of wind and rain, which are the chief agents causing erosion. So it has been blocked. And it also improves the soil. The fertility of the soil increases due to the humus, which is formed by the decay of forest wastages. And there is also a reduction of atmospheric pollution by using up carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen during the process of photosynthesis. And forest reduces pollution and purifies the environment. If you can travel, when you have chance, you can travel some of the hilly areas in Tamil Nadu. You have Ooty and Kodaikanal. We go there, even the way that you smell, no, it differs. No, whatever that you breathe, that will be so natural. You can barely breathe bad odors. Okay, it will be so natural there living, even for a day. And it also controls the climate. Transpiration of plants increases the atmospheric humidity, which affects rainfall and cools the atmosphere. There is a control of water flow also. In the forest, there will be a formation of thick layer of humus, and this formation acts like a spongy substance, and that takes the rainwater, that prevents soil from runoff. The water will not be flowing, the velocity at least that will be blocked. Humus prevents a quick evaporation of water, thereby ensuring a perennial supply of water to streams, springs, and other wells. There are some other commercial uses that you can have through forest. It provides us a large number of commercial goods, which include timber that we have already seen, firewood that for commercial household purpose, pulp wood that is used to make that is used as a raw material, paper industry, pulp industry, food items that you get direct benefit from some fruits, leaves, etc. that has medicinal properties. Even sometimes you can see the roots which is available in the forest that also has some medicinal properties. You can get gum, resins, which is used for additive for paints, varnishes, and also for gums. Non-edible oils that you can extract. Even you can get eucalyptus oil, which has high medicinal properties. In India, you can see most of the households that has eucalyptus oils. Even the person, when they go abroad, they work in some Dubai countries or any Muslim countries where these things are so famous. When they come back now, they used to bring it to the people who are aged in our houses. And there are some comedies also. It involves these kind of eucalyptus oils. And you can get rubber, fibers, lac, bamboo canes, fodder, which is used for feeding the livestock, medicines that you can get, not directly all the time. It involves some processing. You can take the raw material from the forest that has a medicinal property. And what you have to do, you need to take medicine. You have to process these raw materials to take medicine out of it. You can prepare drugs and many more items, the total worth of which is estimated to be more than $300 billion in any given year. And many forest lands are used for mining, agriculture, grazing, and recreation activities, and for development of dams. So it has some ecological uses also. It produces oxygen for the human beings. It reduces the global warming. It is good for wildlife habitat. It is conducive for them. It regulates the hydrological cycle. It conserves soil and its fertility. It acts as a windbreaks most of the time. And it is pollution moderators, where it can absorb many toxic gases, and it helps in keeping the air very pure. And the next concept in forest is deforestation, that is cutting down of trees. There will be a huge number of reduction in the available forest resources. The rate is relatively low in temperate countries when compared to other tropic countries. 90% of tropical forests get reduced in coming 6 decades. That is within a matter of 60 years of future time. For ecological balance, 33% of area should be under forest cover, but our nation has only 20.6 forest cover. That was already discussed in one of the slides. So still we are below the par level. That is, we are only 20.6% out of the total geographical area that we contain, that is contained by forest cover, which is actually have to be minimum 33%. Right. This slide shows the tropical deforestation rates. You can see in Brazil and all, the rate is so high, followed by Indonesia, Myanmar, Zambia, etc. So what are the main causes for this deforestation? There is felling of trees to meet the ever increasing demand of the cities, grazing by the local cattle, goats, sheep, etc. They not only destroy the vegetation, but also pull out the roots out of the plant. Meeting the growing hunger for land, it has hit the ecology of country badly very soon. Our country is likely to have more of wasteland than the productive land. So the land that has to be productive, okay, that has to produce something that can be used by the human beings. At least it should have some economical value that adds to the economy. And the increase in shifting cultivation, that is Jhum cultivation, northeast and Orissa area, has also laid large forest tracts there. Jhum cultivation or shifting cultivation is nothing but, so any piece of land which is continuously used for cultivation, that will be put with fire. Okay, they will fire the whole cultivation land, and after firing, they will keep it for some time, and again they will go for another cultivation in the future with a small break. So this break will induce some production of potash, and it adds some nutrients and minerals to the land surface. And again, when you go for another cultivation, it will be good. The cultivation will be productive. Another major cause of deforestation has been the construction of hill roads. So road construction damages the protective vegetation, covers both above and below roads. And other effects that has been caused by deforestation are soil erosion, loss in the soil fertility, decrease of rainfall due to effect of hydrological cycle, expansion of desert. Now you will have more and more area under deserts. Okay, because most of the land will be under, it will be coming under uncultivable land. And climate change and depletion of water table, loss of biodiversity, flora and fauna, environmental changes and disturbance in the overall forest ecosystem. And how to prevent this deforestation? You have to expand the forest area, for which we need to plant more and more tree, which requires human participation. Strengthening the central and state forestry administration and institutions. Forestation can help in improving the environment. The use of pesticides to reduce damages to forest from pests. Encouraging triple R's of forest products, that is reduce. We have to reduce the usage. We can recycle the materials, and we can reuse the available for natural resources. We can encourage afforestation and reforestation. You can use alternate source of energy like cooking gas instead of wood. No, you can use all the resources. We have to go by cycle. We need to use this and that, so that we are not running out of any resources. And we can also extract timbers from forest. It also have some effect on forest and also tribal people. They lost their diversity, biodiversity. Climate change that has low precipitation. Poor logging results in degraded forest. Floods may be intensified by cutting of trees or upstream watershed. No, there will not be any blockage when there is a running water. And exploitation of tribal people by the contractors, they will be evacuated from the area without giving any compensation. And soil erosion, especially on the slopes, occur extensively. Of course, the timber, it can be used for many wood-based industries like pulp and paper industry, but still, you need to take, the extraction should not be an unsustainable thing, because you have to do something that never damages the future generations. That is sustainable way of living a life. So when you extract everything, when you extract timber more and more, that may damage the biodiversity, they may damage the habitat of other living organisms, other people, so which is not a sustainable way of living the life. So the extraction of timber, that has to be in sustainable way, so that there will not be huge adverse effect on the forest and tribal people. And mining is another process where we extract valuable minerals. What happens here? Vast area of forest are directly cleared to accommodate mining sites. The forest land is also used to store the waste materials that remains after the extraction of usable ores. Okay, it remains forever. And mining, it facilitates soil erosion highly, thereby decreasing the fertility of the land, leading to land degradation. Pollution of both air and water is a common effect that has been caused due to this extraction of valuable minerals in the process of mining. And the dams also, when we construct dams, what happens? We lost the forest, and the forest will get submerged under the backwaters of dam. It creates danger to the habitat of wildlife. The wildlife are forced to migrate. It affects the land. The road already under existence submerges underwater. There will be waterlogging, salinization problem, and the people living in those areas in and around, they also will get some diseases like malaria, etc. And you have lots of wildlife laws, forest laws. Now you need to follow those laws. You have Forest Act 1927. It has certain rules and regulations to control the exploitation of forest resources. You have Wildlife Protection Act 1972. It has some amendments, list of rules and regulations that is to be followed. So we overall, by using all this common sense at least, or at least by keeping all this law into our mind, we need to conserve our forest. It is our national problem, right? And people should be made aware of importance of forest and its available resources, and involved in forest conservation activities. Cutting of trees has to be stopped. Afforestation programs should be launched so as to create awareness among the human beings of our country. Grassland should be regenerated, and forest should be conserved based on the acts that has been proposed for conserving the forest and resource. And we can also promote these kind of awareness programs by giving away awards for the should be instituted for the deserving people who conserves forest and wildlife area. So that's all for today's class. So in this lecture, we were talking about what is forest resource, what are the different types of forest available, and to conserve forest, what are the things that we need to take care, why the forest resources are getting damaged or getting exploited, how we can stop this forest exploitation, what are the measures that we can take, and these things that we have seen in this class in detailed way. So thanks for the patient listening. We will meet again in the future course of time with some other interesting lecture. Until then, it is bye from Thulasiram. Thank you.